Welcome to Mystic Realms Recap. Links are in the description below. Please show some love of the author and me. On to the show. Count Raphael was not a vegetarian either, so he led a large number of vampire ships and void creatures to surround Su Yan. Damn bastard, this is my Count Raphael's territory, how can you be presumptuous? Count Raphael glared at Su Yan and gave a cold drink. Count Raphael's vampire ships also rushed towards Su Yan's ships, and the vampire ships kept ramming towards Su Yan. Seeing the attack of the vampire ships, Su Yan was also a little surprised. Unexpectedly, the ships of the Blood Clan can also erupt with such a terrifying attack force, so that he is unable to cause damage to these ships of the Blood Clan. Su Yan is also a little helpless. The speed of Su Yan's star warship has reached the extreme, and it can also travel through the universe, so he is not afraid of these blood vessels of the blood race. Su Yan also planned to hit 093 hard, and his ship also went to meet the ships of the Blood Clan. The two ships collided together. Su Yan's star warship was also rammed by these blood vessels. A large hole appeared on the surface of Su Yan's ship, and Su Yan's warship also suffered serious damage, and those void creatures were blocked by Su Yan's starship battleship. Su Yan's star warship also stopped charging forward, because Su Yan found that the power of those void creatures was too powerful, and his own starship battleship is simply unable to confront those void creatures head-on, and Su Yan also knows that he must hurry up and hatch the starry sky dragon eggs before the power of these void creatures recovers. To be able to stop these void creatures, Su Yan no longer hesitated, and silently recited a sentence in her heart, "The power of the stars, activate." Immediately, Su Yan's starship battleship also radiated a dazzling light, and a strong wave of energy also spread out to the surrounding. This energy fluctuation also stunned Count Raphael's ship. He seemed to hear a familiar aura, which seemed to come from the stars, and the source of this power was Su Yan's star warship. Count Raphael also widened his eyes, staring at Su Yan's starship battleship in disbelief. What the hell is this Su Yan, his starship battleship? This is the power of stars? How can this guy's starship battleship contain the power of stars? Could his battleship still be able to carry planets? Count Raphael was also very shocked, and he was also very curious. Su Yan's starship battleship was able to withstand their attack, which also shocked him. The power of the stars is indeed powerful. In Su Yan's starship battleship, the power of stars is constantly circulating, and the power of stars is constantly pouring out of Su Yan's body, and these powers of stars are constantly integrated into the starship battleship, making the starry battleship's defense ability become stronger. The energy of the power of the stars is continuously injected into the star warship, making the star warship become more and more powerful. Rumbling tilde operator. A burst of explosions sounded, and Su Yan's starship battleship was also constantly colliding with Count Raphael's Blood Clan ship. During the collision, the defensive ability of the Blood Clan ship was also constantly weakening. However, the defensive capability of the starship battleship is also constantly improving, which also makes Count Raphael a little worried. How could this be? Su Yan's starship battleship is so strong. Count Raphael was also very surprised, but he did not give up. Count Raphael also hated Su Yan to the core. If it weren't for Su Yan, he would not have been hunted down by the ancient empire, and he would have ended up like this. Therefore, he also did not intend to let Su Yan go. He decided to kill Su Yan, and then went to seek revenge for the ancient empire. Count Raphael also ordered the blood vessels to speed up, and he wanted to get rid of Su Yan. Under the control of Count Raphael, these blood vessels also accelerated to impact Su Yan's starship. The defense system of the starship battleship has also begun to operate, and, in such a battle, Su Yan's starship battleship is also continuously enhancing its defense, which has also greatly improved the defense capability of the starship battleship this time. Inside Su Yan's starship battleship, the starry sky dragon egg contains a huge amount of energy, and, under the stimulation of these energies, Su Yan's starry sky dragon egg gradually wakes up. As Su Yan's voice fell, Su Yan's starry sky dragon egg also trembled slightly, as if it was about to drill out of the egg, but inside the dragon egg, a huge attraction was also transmitted, and this attraction is also constantly involving the starry sky dragon egg, making the starry sky dragon egg shrink in size, and eventually become a golden dragon egg. The starry sky dragon egg is also constantly flashing brilliance, and these brilliance also make Suyan's starry sky battleship's defense ability continuously enhanced, and also enable Suyan's starry sky battleship to resist the impact. The defense capability of Suyan's starship battleship is also growing, and Suyan's heart is very happy, because this is also the first time he used the starry sky dragon egg to resist these attacks. Although these attacks are nothing to the starry sky dragon egg, they can make the starry sky dragon egg more powerful. As for Count Raphael outside of Suyan's starship, he also sensed the changes on Suyan's starship, which also shocked Count Raphael. No, Suyan's star warship seems to have changed, and the defense capability of this star warship seems to have increased many times. Count Raphael's face became gloomy, and he also understood the changes in Suyan's starship. The defense capability of his ship is 2.6 very strong, but now, Count Raphael also feels that his ship seems to have a tendency to be destroyed. Damn Suyan, how could the defensive capabilities of this starship battleship become so powerful? Could it be the ship of the ancient empire? However, this question can only be answered when he kills Suyan and captures Suyan's starship. Boom! It was another violent collision, and Count Raphael's blood vessel was also smashed into the air by Suyan's starship. Cracks appeared on the vampire ship, and Count Raphael was also hit with blood. This time, Count Raphael's ship also became broken, and it looked like a rag doll. If there are several more attacks, it is not impossible for the vampire ship to be destroyed. Count Raphael was so angry that his face turned green. This Suyan was too cunning. Moreover, the defense capability of Suyan's starship battleship could be enhanced, which was unbearable for Count de la Fille. He was already very annoyed, and wanted to rush over immediately and shred Suyan's starship battleship to pieces, but Count Raphael was also unwilling to take risks. A taboo method. Count Raphael could only continue to charge towards Suyan's starship. Count Raphael was constantly approaching, but Suyan's starship was constantly dodging, making Count Raphael's attack unsuccessful. Damn it! Count Raphael was also very annoyed that he met an opponent like Suyan. This made Count Raphael feel very difficult. Suyan! Count Raphael's voice also resounded, and Count Raphael 31 also shot cannonballs directly at Suyan's starship battleship. These cannonballs also carried destructive energy. Ha ha! Suyan sneered and shot a fireball at Count Raphael. Count Raphael's cannonball collided with Suyan's fireball, and it exploded instantly, and energy ripples spread out in all directions. At the moment when the two cannonballs collided, Count Raphael was also shaken back, but he was not injured. On the contrary, because of the residual power of the two cannonballs, his ship also swayed, but he still stabilized. After picking up his own ship, he continued to charge towards Suyan's starship battleship. And Suyan's starship battleship continued to dodge Count Raphael's attack. However, in this way, it also made Suyan's starship battleship look very embarrassed, and a lot of defense capabilities were constantly being consumed. Suyan's star warships are all star warships made of special materials during interstellar voyages. Although their defense capabilities are also very strong, they can't help but look difficult under the attack of Count Raphael. Moreover, Suyan's star warship also needs to maintain energy, so this also causes Suyan's star warship to consume more and more. Suyan, I don't believe your defensive ability, it's always been so strong. Count Raphael looked at Suyan with a sneer on the corner of his mouth. He also made up his mind. No matter how strong the defense capability of Suyan's star warship is, he must destroy Suyan's star warship. Lose. Count Raphael also kept firing shells and kept attacking. It is a pity that even though Count Raphael fired millions of shells, his shells were never able to penetrate the defense cover of Suyan's starship. But how could Suyan blindly defend, and then controlled the warp submarine, and also began to counterattack? The warp submarine itself has attack capability, and the defense capability of Su Yan's warp submarine is not bad. And the attack capability of the warp submarine is also beyond that of ordinary star warships, so this round of attack, the subspace's attack capability is not bad. The space submarine also easily destroyed one of Count Raphael's bloodline battleships. No, it can't be. Count Raphael looked at the scene in disbelief. He originally thought that his cannonballs were enough to destroy Su Yan's starship, but in the end, he came back without success. The loss of Count Raphael's Blood Clan battleship is also very huge. A total of 5 Blood Clan battleships were destroyed, and the armor inside the Blood Clan battleship of Count Raphael was also destroyed a lot, which also led to the loss of Count Raphael. A lot of energy. There are only 6 ships of Count Raphael now, and his bloodline battleship is already dilapidated, and it can no longer be guaranteed to maintain its combat effectiveness during the battle. This. Count Raphael was also a little stunned. He stared at Su Yan's warp submarine incredulously. His heart was full of unwillingness. He did not expect that Su Yan's warp submarine was so powerful. He didn't know the existence of warp submarines at all, and he didn't even know how terrifying the warp submarines were. However, there is nothing Su Yan can do, and he can't make the warp submarine's combat power continue to be so strong. In this case, it is also very unfavorable for the development of Su Yan and the Xingqian battleship. Moreover, the star battleship also needs to be supplemented with energy. Su Yan can only continuously release artillery shells to attack Count Raphael's bloodline battleship, hoping to slow down the speed of the bloodline battleship, so that his starship battleship can be faster. Recovery of combat power. Count Raphael did not believe in evil, and ordered the vampire battleship and the void creature to attack again, Su Yan's battleship. Void creatures are very powerful creatures. They not only have the ability to fly, but their physical defenses are also extremely powerful. Su Yan doesn't want void creatures to cause chaos in his fleet. Once the void creatures are rampant in the fleet, it is a very troublesome thing. Therefore, Su Yan also ordered the warp submarine to kill the void creatures at all costs. The attack power of the warp submarine is very terrifying, so the speed of the void creature cannot be compared with that of the warp submarine. In the battle between warp submarines and void creatures, the attack power of warp submarine 093 is also getting stronger and stronger. Moreover, under the attack of the warp submarine, the void creatures also suffered heavy losses. Under the attack of the warp submarine, one after another void creature also died under the attack of the warp submarine. Warp submarines are constantly killing void creatures. In the end, kill all the void creatures. Void creatures also completely disappeared. Su Yan also breathed a sigh of relief. Looking at his ship, Su Yan was also very satisfied. His ships are not much lost now. Although some soldiers were lost, they were all minor and did not affect the operation of the ship. Void creatures are also wiped out by warp submarines. Great! Su Yan looked at the scene in front of her with a hint of joy. Although the elimination of the warp submarine also cost him a lot, his goal was achieved, and he also killed many void creatures, so that the energy reserve of the warp submarine became sufficient. Count Raphael also looked at the scene in front of him, and he was also stunned. He also did not expect that the attack capability of Su Yan's warp submarine would be so terrifying. It would destroy the void creatures in a single encounter. This is just a face-to-face. Count Raphael couldn't help being a little flustered, but soon, he also calmed down. After all, this is the base camp of the Blood Clan. He is here, with a large number of warriors, so many people. Can't he still deal with Su Yan? Attack me! Count Raphael roared loudly. Count Raphael commanded all the blood vessels to launch a fierce attack towards Su Yan's starship. Under the command of Count Raphael, the entire starship battleship also entered a state of battle again. Su Yan controlled the warp submarine, opened the defense cover, and protected the entire warp submarine. The energy of the defense cover was also constantly increasing. Damn it! Count Raphael's face became more and more gloomy. He did not expect that Su Yan's starship battleship was so strong that his attack would have no effect on Su Yan's starship battleship at all. His attack also increased the energy reserves of Su Yan's ships, which also made him feel very depressed. At this time, Count Raphael also had a feeling of shooting himself in the foot. He thought that he could defeat Su Yan, but who knows, he is now a little difficult to ride a tiger. However, Count Raphael was not discouraged. He also knew that his Blood Clan battleship, as well as many warriors, were all waiting for his orders. All vampire ships, follow my orders. Count Raphael ordered all the blood vessels. Yes. Hearing the words of Count Raphael, all the blood vessels also shouted in unison. This order of Count Raphael also made all the battleships obey him. On the battlefield, these battleships of Count Raphael also made a roar after another, and one fort after another lit up, and one after another artillery fire also attacked in the direction of Su Yan. Come. Stop him for me. Count Raphael also shouted loudly. And under the order of Count Raphael, those blood race warships also launched waves of attacks towards Su Yan. One after another shells also flew, and exploded on the interstellar battleship, and groups of flames spread out towards the surrounding. These Blood Clan battleships of Count Raphael are all made by the Blood Clan warriors, so, these shells are used in their hands, and the power is naturally very powerful. Block me. Su Yan also issued an order, and his fleet also faced this round of shelling. Boom boom boom. Loud noises kept coming. Su Yan's star warship also blocked all the shells. However, the bombardment of such artillery also made the defense cover of Su Yan's ship tremble constantly. Continue to attack, I would like to see if your defense can resist a few times. Count Raphael also let out a sneer. He also knew that Su Yan's starship battleship was indeed more powerful than his battleship in terms of defense capability. However, he is not so easy to defeat. After all, the artillery fire of his battleships is also endless, and Su Yan's battleship, after running out of energy, is absolutely unable to stop his attack. Keep firing. Give me all the energy to drain me. Count Raphael also roared loudly. In his opinion, Su Yan's starship battleship can block the attack for such a long time, it is not bad. And in terms of energy consumption, there is also a huge gap. If this starship battleship continues to hold on like this, the damage to his starship battleship will become more and more serious. Okay. Hearing the order of Count Raphael, all the blood vessels continued to emit energy according to the meaning of Count Raphael. Boom boom boom. One after another, the energy balls also attacked towards Su Yan's battleship, and a series of explosions continued to sound. This time, Su Yan's warp submarine also suffered a lot of energy attacks, but this time, although the warp submarine was hit by a lot of energy, there was no problem with the warp submarine. After all, this warp submarine has been refitted. The defense capability of the warp submarine is very powerful and can withstand a certain degree of attack, which also improves the defense power of the warp submarine a lot. Su Yan's warp submarine is also constantly moving. Su Yan is also constantly emitting energy. No matter how intensive these attacks were, Su Yan's warp submarine kept evading. Chase me, sink that starship battleship for me. Count Raphael also let out a roar. Under the order of Count Raphael, his blood fleet also began to launch wave after wave of attacks towards Su Yan's star warship. Under the attack of these battleships of Count Raphael, the starship battleship was also constantly shaking, but this little damage was really insignificant to Su Yan. While attacking Su Yan, these Blood Clan warships also continuously launched their own artillery bombardment to destroy the star warships. However, on the surface of the star warships, there are a large number of defense systems and energy shields to protect these Blood Clans. The artillery fire of the battleship also has no way to break through these energy defense shields. Continue to attack me, be sure to sink this starship battleship. Count Raphael saw that his attack was useless, and he also roared angrily. Yes. Those Blood Clan warriors also did not dare to neglect, and continued to fire artillery fire, one after another, of promises, shells also kept falling on Su Yan's starship battleship. On the surface of the star warship, black smoke is constantly bubbling. These energy shells are also the defensive cover of the star warship, and they are constantly oscillating, and the energy impact generated by these energy shells is also constantly hitting Su Yan. Star warship. Su Yan directly used the space jump to leave the center of the battlefield, and he also avoided the shelling of the Blood Clan battleship. He is not afraid of the artillery bombardment of the Blood Clan battleship, because the Blood Clan battleship does not have any powerful artillery fire at all. Count Raphael saw that one round of attacks did not have much impact on Su Yan's starship battleship, which also made Count Raphael's complexion gloomy. "Damn it, keep attacking me," Count Raphael also said angrily. Once again, he attacked Su Yan's starship battleship frantically, and this time, Count Raphael also used all his energy to bombard Su Yan's starship. At this moment, the starship battleship also made a loud chirping sound, but these sounds were not enough to satisfy Count Raphael. "Damn it, keep attacking me," Count Raphael roared again, and he also wanted to completely exhaust his energy. Following the order of Count Raphael this time, the Blood Race fleet also launched an artillery attack again, and this time, the artillery fire launched by the Blood Race warriors was extremely powerful. Boom! 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 The sound of explosions rang out continuously from these artillery fires. After this round of attacks, Su Yan's starship battleship also suffered a certain amount of damage. Boom! The sound of roaring roars was also continuously heard from the starship battleship. In the eyes of Count Raphael, he could also see that the energy shield on Su Yan's battleship also had a slight crack at this moment. This made Count Raphael also feel extremely excited. He saw that his attack this time was able to destroy Su Yan's battleship, so the odds of their Blood Clan's victory were much higher. Ha ha ha. Seeing this, Count Raphael couldn't help but burst into laughter. 093, continue to attack, give me a fierce attack. Watching his army, constantly firing artillery fire at Su Yan's starship battleship, Count Raphael couldn't help but get excited. At this time, Count Raphael also found that Su Yan's starship battleship did not seem to have any response. Is it? Is this what I expected? In the eyes of Count Raphael, the artillery fire of his own legion has reached the extreme this time, and this starship battleship must be almost unable to hold it. Count Raphael never thought that Su Yan actually had a group of dragon hidden fleet hidden, and this dragon hidden fleet was actually able to resist his own attack. Seeing such a situation, Count Raphael couldn't help but shouted in surprise, "How is it possible that he actually has other longing fleets, and he can still resist my artillery fire? Could it be that this star warship has the ability to withstand the ability to hold my gunfire? Impossible, absolutely impossible." Seeing this scene, Count Raphael shook his head in disbelief. "Give me more output, DBCG, to fully release the energy of the artillery fire," Count Raphael also roared. Yes, hearing the words of Count Raphael, these Blood Race warriors also increased their energy output again, and the artillery fire continued to bombard the starship battleship. This time, the artillery fire was even more ferocious than the previous artillery fire. However, this time, Count Raphael was also disappointed. Although his artillery fire was powerful, it did not cause any harm to Su Yan's longing fleet. At this time, the defensive cover of the longing fleet once again lit up with a layer of light. However, this layer of light seemed to be several times stronger than before. How so? Count Raphael could not help frowning, and he also felt a little strange. This Su Yan, there are other means? This made Count Raphael also feel a little strange, and he couldn't help but guess in his heart, could it be that Su Yan and other trump cards cannot be known? Damn, I don't believe it anymore. Count Raphael also shouted through gritted teeth. He did not believe in evil and continued to fire artillery fire. However, Count Raphael was disappointed. Su Yan's defensive cover actually emitted another layer of powerful light, which blocked all his artillery fire. At this time, Count Raphael also kept guessing, and the guesses in his heart became more and more outrageous. This time, the artillery fire caused him to lose a lot of energy and artillery fire, but he still did not hurt Su Yan's longing fleet in the slightest. The hood has weakened a lot of attack power. Count Raphael was also very puzzled. He really couldn't figure out how Su Yan's battleship did it. Count Raphael was completely vulnerable in front of Su Yan's longing fleet. At this time, Su Yan's star warship also stayed where he was. He looked at the Count of Raphael in the distance, and he also smiled. Su Yan's star warship was indeed attacked by Count Raphael, and it was a bit miserable. However, the hardware facilities of Su Yan's star warship also exceeded his expectations. Although under the bombardment of artillery fire, this battleship shows a lot of damage, but this battleship is still standing. With such a little strength, he actually wants to break through my battleship? What a joke! Su Yan cursed inwardly. Seeing that the situation was over, Count Raphael also decided to go all out and open his last whole card, which was the Eternal Energy Fragment. Count Raphael's preparations for the Eternal Energy Fragments this time are also extremely rich. After all, this time, Count Raphael has already done his best. If he can't come up with any decent treasures, he will definitely lose. In this case, Count Raphael also took out the Eternal Energy Fragments desperately. As the Eternal Energy Fragments were taken out, a thick white mist also appeared around Su Yan's starship battleship. This piece of white fog also quickly condensed, and with the condensation of the white fog, the Eternal Energy Fragments in the hands of Count Raphael also began to emit light, and the light became more and more dazzling and dazzling. Count Raphael also saw this situation, and there was a touch of excitement on his face, which proved that the piece of eternal energy in his hand was indeed effective. Moreover, Count Raphael also saw that the eternal energy fragment in his hand did not seem to be an ordinary eternal energy fragment. This energy fragment also contained a mysterious energy. Those eternal energy fragments are also too powerful. Is this the eternal energy shard? Looking at the piece of eternal energy in his hand, Count Raphael also showed a satisfied smile. The energy of this eternal energy fragment is really powerful, and he has not seen such energy for a long time. Looking at this energy fragment, Count Raphael couldn't help licking his lips. Not only that, there is also a mysterious radiance on this eternal energy fragment, and this radiance seems to be attracting the surrounding energy. This power is actually so powerful. Count Raphael also felt the horror of this power. Although the energy that Su Yan erupted was only first-order energy, Su Yan was also able to use this power to exert his own power. Highest power. Eternal energy fragments do have a fatal attraction for Iron Man and Zerg, their strengths. Count Raphael wanted to use this eternal energy fragment to get Iron Man's help, but now even if he made a deal with Iron Man, it would be of no avail. The Orus Galaxy was not a place that Iron Man could reach. Therefore, he did not dare to take out this eternal energy fragment, because he did not know what effect this eternal energy fragment would have on Iron Man. If his Iron Man is controlled by this eternal energy fragment, then his loss will become even greater. No matter what, Su Yan must be stopped too. Count Raphael gritted his teeth, and also secretly thought in his heart. Thinking of this, he also opened the energy shield on the eternal energy fragment. After the energy cover of the eternal energy fragment was opened, a burst of dazzling light also radiated from the energy cover in an instant, followed by a terrifying force, which also spread from the eternal energy fragment in an instant. The energy on this eternal energy fragment also increased instantly, and Su Yan felt it immediately. This powerful energy also surprised him. Is this Count of Raphael going to be desperate? Su Yan also sensed this powerful energy, and he couldn't help but worry. This is the first time he has seen such a powerful energy, but he is still not afraid. He also immediately turned on the energy shield to the maximum state, and at the same time it is also running energy, and begins to resist this powerful energy impact. However, what shocked Su Yan still happened. Although his energy shield resisted this energy, countless fine cracks appeared in his energy shield. The hood is also impossible to bridge. How can the power of this eternal energy fragment be so strong? Su Yan also felt an infinite shock in his heart, and the power of the eternal energy fragments was indeed stronger. However, Su Yan was not afraid. Haha. Bomb, whoever touches it will die. I see what you will do. I see you can resist it for a few seconds. Su Yan was also a little annoyed when he heard the clamor of Count Raphael. Do you think your eternal energy fragments can threaten me? Su Yan, don't talk nonsense. Now you should give up quickly. If you don't give up, you will die here later. Count Raphael also said disdainfully. He is full of confidence in his heart now. In his opinion, Su Yan could not be his opponent at all. The piece of eternal energy in his hand could easily crush Su Yan, and now, this piece of eternal energy has begun to run slowly. Seeing such a scene, Count Raphael also had some expectations in his heart, hoping that the eternal energy fragments would quickly release this energy, and then Su Yan would definitely be bombed and killed. However, Count Raphael did not know that Su Yan also had a whole card in this situation. At this moment, suddenly, Count Raphael saw a scene that shocked him. What is this? Count Raphael saw that Su Yan's hand condensed another light ball, but this light ball was much more powerful than the eternal energy fragment just now. Once this light ball was condensed, it moved towards he shoots. What kind of energy is this? How could it be possible? I actually felt a trace of danger. This feeling is really strange. This is the first time I have encountered such a situation. Seeing that Su Yan has condensed another light ball, the energy of this light ball is much stronger than the power of the eternal energy fragments just now. Count Raphael is also full of endless questions. What exactly did Su Yan do? This kind of thing, even he himself, did not do it. Seeking flowers. Rumbling. The power of the eternal energy fragment this time is far greater than the eternal energy fragment just now. Moreover, as the light ball gets closer, the light ball is also getting bigger and bigger. In the end, the volume of the light ball has reached 1 meter. It is long, with a full 2/3 of the light group, like a black hole, swallowing all energy. The sphere of light is still gradually getting bigger. Seeing this scene, Count Raphael was also extremely shocked. He also immediately mobilized all the energy in his body to fully mobilize the eternal energy fragment in his hand, and this eternal energy fragment also instantly released a burst of strong white energy fluctuations. This white energy wave quickly spread, covering the entire battlefield, and at this time, the energy wave emitted from those eternal energy fragments also quickly melted Su Yan's energy shield. 0. Boom! The ball of light landed directly on the energy shield. The energy shield was instantly broken and turned into little metal particles. Su Yan's figure also quickly retreated, and at the same time a mouthful of blood spurted out. It shook, as if injured. However, such an injury is nothing to Su Yan, and this injury is not worth mentioning to him. However, when Count Raphael saw this scene, his face also sank. He knew that it was not enough to deal with Su Yan with only the shards of eternal energy. The Zerg are very interested in the eternal energy fragments, so he also has to find a way to cooperate with the Zerg, so that the Zerg's power can deal with Su Yan, and the eternal energy fragments are given to the Zerg as a price. In this case, it can be regarded as a best of both worlds method, and it can also make the relationship between the Zerg and him further. To understand this, Count Raphael also had an idea. I don't believe it, this still can't beat you. Count Raphael also sneered, and he immediately controlled the eternal energy fragment. Know the location of the Zerg through the eternal energy fragments, and then he will find some Zerg from the Zerg's territory to help. In this way, he will definitely win. Loss. If you're enjoying my content, please consider donating a coffee. Or checking out my shirts on TeePublic. To understand this, his confidence has also recovered a lot. Count Raphael talked to the will of the Zerg, took the eternal energy fragment as a trading condition, and hired the Zerg to help him strangle Su Yan, and the will of the Zerg agreed to this. After all, the eternal energy fragment is too precious, and it also has a huge allure. This also makes the Zerg will very happy. The will of the Zerg was also very refreshing and agreed to this. At the same time, the Zerg also told Count Raphael that he could send a larger Zerg to help him kill Su Yan, which would make Su Yan even more uncomfortable. That being the case, I have only this choice. Earl Raphael also nodded. He immediately contacted the leader of the Zerg, asked the leader of the Zerg to contact the Zerg, and asked the leader of the Zerg to send a larger Zerg to help 110 to help him, and the leader of the Zerg immediately followed the poll according to Earl Phil's orders. I have done my job. Soon, the Zerg received the order, and the Zerg will, with a large number of Zerg masters, move towards Su Yan's position. The Zerg also flew towards the edge of the battlefield. Soon, a group of Zerg troops also rushed over. At this time, those Zerg roared, as if they wanted to vent their inner resentment. At the same time, they also opened their bloody mouths, revealing sharp teeth, and those teeth were also glowing. Senhan's luster is very strange. These Zerg have super terrifying attack power. Su Yan's heart sank when he saw the appearance of these Zerg. These Zerg, it seems to be many times more powerful than the eternal energy fragments just now. However, Su Yan has no fear. He also knows that although the number of these Zerg is large, it is not a difficult thing for him. And in his hand, he was holding a ball of light. His light ball also has a lot of energy storage. Now, he needs to explode this ball of light and let all these Zerg die. In this way, this time, no one can save you. Su Yan's face turned cold. Immediately, he threw the ball of light towards the Zerg, and the ball of light also stopped above the Zerg army. This ball of light drew a silvery white light in the air, and then shot directly into the Zerg army. These Zerg did not seem to notice the attack of the light ball at all, and continued to walk forward. But at this moment, the light ball suddenly exploded. This is a super light bomb. The explosion of the light bomb is extremely powerful, and it can kill dozens of Zerg in an instant. And Su Yan also took advantage of this opportunity and ran away quickly. At this time, Su Yan saw a Zerg approaching him. This Zerg is a huge black spider that looks very ferocious. Its body is more than 100 meters long, and there is a thick layer of carapace protecting it, and its defense is very terrifying. Moreover, on its back, there are a pair of black wings. These wings also look very sharp, like blades, constantly waving in the wind, giving people a creepy feeling. And this giant black spider rushed towards Su Yan so quickly, trying to devour Su Yan. However, Su Yan had been prepared for a long time. His body had turned into a streamer and disappeared, avoiding the pursuit of this giant spider. At this time, Baiying saw that there were all Zerg nearby. She was very calm, and the ship she controlled helped Su Yan resist the attack of Zerg, and launched energy cannonballs to attack these Zerg, making these Zerg not dare to approach the ship easily. However, the energy storage of the Su Yan ship is not much, so these energy shells can only last for a long time. At this time, the Zerg army also came to Su Yan. The Zerg army has already surrounded the entire ship. Moreover, the eyes of these Zerg flickered with a faint blue light, like a faint blue flame, which looked unusually evil. These Zerg looked at Su Yan, and their eyes were full of greed, tyranny, bloodthirsty, and madness. These Zerg seemed to want to eat this ship. When Su Yan saw these Zerg, he was also secretly shocked. The strength of these Zerg is very strong, and the number of these Zerg is still large. It seems that there are at least tens of thousands of Zerg army. This time, the pressure that Su Yan is facing is unprecedented. Even if Su Yan can defeat these Zerg, it will have a great impact on his strength. After all, the number of these Zerg is too much, and his consumption is also very terrifying. No, I absolutely can't let these Zerg succeed. Su Yan thought. A sharp light flashed in his eyes. Su Yan then took control of the ship. This ship is a large ship that can carry thousands of people. It is very fast and has strong penetration. It is a killer of Su Yan. Now, the owner of this ship is Su Yan. Su Yan wanted to use the speed and defense of this ship to eliminate all these Zerg. Although this method is very risky, Su Yan believes that she can do it. At this time, these Zerg are also attacking the ship frantically. The attacks of these Zerg are also dense. One after another energy attack, spewing from the mouth of these Zerg, slamming on the ship, sending out a burst of energy bang. The attack power of these Zerg is very strong, and the ship is also smashed out of depressions one after another. However, the defense capability of this ship is very good. Even so, the ship can recover quickly. Moreover, because the owner of the ship, Su Yan, has placed a lot of energy barriers on the outside of the ship. These energy barriers can withstand a lot of energy attacks. In this way, the damage to the ship is also reduced a lot. Seeing that the energy barrier on the ship has not been broken, these Zerg are also a little impatient, but they still refuse to give up. They are still attacking, and they want to break the ship. However, the speed of their attack was still one step slower. Moreover, those energy barriers on the ship were created by Su Yan with his own strength, and the defensive capabilities were also very terrifying. Soon, these Zerg also discovered this problem, and they screamed in anger. The Zerg began to frantically attack the ship, trying to smash the ship. However, the defensive capability of this ship is also very powerful. That being the case, I'll let you try my new weapon first. Su Yan saw that there is a huge energy elevator on the ship. This energy elevator can deliver a lot of energy to the ship. This energy can support the ship, so that it will not be attacked by these Zerg. Boom. And Su Yan controlled a mechanical puppet on the ship, opened the door of the elevator, and adjusted a super energy cannon inside to attack state. At this time, the muzzle of the super energy cannon also pointed at the Zerg outside. Su Yan controlled the ship, aimed the super energy cannon at the Zerg, and shot the super energy cannon at the Zerg outside. Rumbling. A huge wave of super energy was launched from the super energy cannon. Immediately, these 31 super energy cannons burst out with a dazzling energy ripple, and this super energy ripple also spread out in a spiral shape, forming a huge energy cover. Zerg, all shrouded in it. These Zerg are all within the envelope of this energy cover, and the energy of these super energy cannons does not cause much damage to them. However, the energy shield's defensibility is very strong, and the energy cannons fired by these super energy cannons did not cause fatal damage to these Zerg. Boom. At this time, Su Yan controlled the ship and kept firing, shooting energy cannons towards the outside. These energy cannons also bombarded the Zerg outside. These Zerg, at this time, are also frantically attacking the energy barriers on the ship, trying to defeat this energy barrier. However, although these Zerg attack speed is fast, but the energy barrier is very strong, these Zerg cannot shake this layer of energy barrier, nor can it blast this layer of energy barrier. These Zerg attacks, also it can only be invalid. Moreover, these energy barriers are constantly changing, and these Zerg attacks are also unsuccessful. Such a situation made these Zerg very angry. However, they did not back down. The intelligence of these Zerg is very high. These Zerg know that this ship is not so easy to break, so they do not choose to escape. They choose to continue to fight this ship, and want to completely break the ship. These Zerg attacked the ship frantically, and at this time, Su Yan manipulated the ship again, releasing super energy balls one by one. There was also a huge roar on the ship. This ship also exerted its enormous energy. On this ship, the energy barrier is covered with dense energy holes. Above these energy holes, halos also appear, and these halos also contain huge energy. This ship also exerted a huge amount of energy. At this time, Su Yan controlled a huge energy cannon on the ship and blasted at the Zerg outside. Two beams flew out and hit the Zerg outside in an instant. Boom boom. Immediately, these two beams of light bombed these Zerg into a pool of blood mist, causing heavy casualties. This ship actually has energy cannons? It seems to be able to continuously release energy cannons? How did this ship do it? No wonder, this ship can defeat so many Zerg. It turns out that there is such an energy cannon on this ship. It's so strong that we, the Zerg, can't even break through this ship. It seems that we can't do anything to get this ship. We can't deal with this ship at all. This ship is too hard, and the defense capability of this ship is too terrifying. On this ship, the energy cannon released by the super energy cannon also deterred a small number of Zerg. The number of Zerg has developed to an extremely large amount, and its size is even close to that of an ancient empire. At a time, a large number of Zerg ships flew out of the void, and the densely packed flying insects avatars guarded around the Zerg ships. And the size of these Zerg ships is very huge, almost hundreds of meters long, and the Zerg ships of these sizes all flew out of the void cracks. These flying insects live in these void cracks, and they also have some special abilities. These Zerg, in the void cracks, can live for a long time and can obtain a lot of energy. The combat power of these Zerg is even more powerful than that of ordinary spaceships, and their attacks are also very sharp. The flying speed of these flying insects is also very fast, and they soon came to the side of the ship. These flying insects also attacked the ship. At this time, these Zerg also spewed out rays of energy toward the ship. These energy rays were extremely powerful. It fell directly on the ship, and the super energy barrier outside the ship penetrated the gaps of 110. These energy cannons are also continuously released at this time. At this time, those Zerg are also constantly attacking this ship, trying to destroy the super energy barrier. And this ship was also penetrated one by one gap. The energy cannons are also constantly shooting at the ship, and the energy cannons on the ship are also shooting continuously, killing these Zerg. However, these Zerg are constantly pouring into the ships from this gap. After these Zerg entered the ship, they also attacked the ship. The defense of the ship is unable to resist the attacks of these Zerg. The super energy barrier outside the ship can only be maintained for a period of time. Once the super energy barrier disappears, these super energy cannons will also be destroyed. This ship is also constantly being attacked by the Zerg. However, this ship is also constantly firing energy cannons. At this time, the ship also reduces the energy consumption a lot. Su Yan is also constantly releasing super energy cannons, constantly bombarding the Zerg outside into scum. The number of these Zerg is too large, even Su Yan's super energy cannon is simply unable to kill all of these Zerg. The vampire ships are constantly being attacked by the Zerg. At this time, Su Yan also kept releasing super energy cannons. Bang bang, operator. Outside the ship, there were continuous bursts of violent explosions. Although the power of these super energy cannons is huge, the consumption is also quite amazing. Su Yan released 500 or 600 super energy cannons at one time, but the consumption of these super energy cannons was also quite astonishing. The number of these Zerg is too large. Even if these super energy cannons can kill a lot of them, they cannot destroy all Zerg. These Zerg are still flying to the ship in an endless stream. These Zerg that flew to the ship did not immediately attack, but kept wandering around the ship, as if looking for some opportunity. At this time, the ship also launched an attack. Among the ships, there are constantly spaceships firing energy cannons around, attacking these Zerg. These energy cannons are continuously launched towards these Zerg. The energy cannons fired by these spaceships are specially processed. The power of these energy cannons is many times more powerful than the power of Su Yan's own use of super energy cannons. Therefore, at this time, these energy cannons are also constantly attacking those Zerg, and they are still non-stop attacking the key points of those Zerg. At this time, those Zerg were also attacked by a lot of energy cannons. The energy fluctuations one after another continued to spread around. In this ship, everyone saw the fate of these Zerg. On this ship, energy cannons were continuously fired, and energy beams were shot around, and energy beams fell on these Zerg. These Zerg were also killed by the energy beam. At this time, there were also bursts of angry roars from the ship. The Zerg in this ship were also furious. Heads of Zerg rushed out of the ship and charged towards the spaceships outside. These Zerg, the number is too much. The number has reached more than 300 million, densely packed, like locusts, densely packed. Such a number is simply suffocating. Count Raphael saw that the Zerg surrounded Su Yan's ship layer by layer, and handed the eternal energy fragments to the Zerg, who knew that the Zerg suddenly repented and planned to devour Count Raphael. This made Count Raphael also very angry, and he couldn't help scolding, "Damn Zerg, go back on his word." However, Count Raphael was unable to change the status quo. There were too many Zerg races to escape. Count Raphael was also trapped in the ship, unable to leave the ship. This ship is now being constantly eroded by these Zerg. After a while, the energy shield of this ship was also pierced by these Zerg, and countless holes began to appear in the shell of this ship. As these holes became more and more, this ship also started shaking. Count Raphael did not expect that he would fall here so soon. He was not reconciled, he was unwilling to fall like this. I am not reconciled, am I going to be eaten by these Zerg? Count Raphael secretly hates, but there is no way. At this time, the protective cover of the blood vessel was also gradually damaged, and there was already a hint of signs of collapse. Count Raphael and his subordinates were also very nervous and fearful at the moment. The protective cover of the blood-colored ship was quickly breached by the Zerg. Looking at the dense Zerg, Count Raphael could not escape the fate of being swallowed by the Zerg. These Zerg bite Count Raphael frantically, and Raphael is also struggling constantly, but these Zerg are too ferocious, and the number of these Zerg is quite large, so Raphael was directly surrounded by dense Zerg. Die away. Count Raphael also let out a roar. Operator. Count Raphael kept struggling, but it was useless under so many mighty Zerg. In the end, he was devoured by those Zerg. Poor Wait, Count Raphael ended up shooting himself in the foot. As soon as Count Raphael died, the blood-colored ship also exploded completely, turning into debris and falling. All the members in this blood-colored ship were also devoured by the Zerg. They're Zerg, you're going to talk about humanitarianism with them, joking? Afterwards, the Zerg looked at the ship Su Yan, and then rushed towards the ship. The ship Su Yan also kept dodging these Zerg, and did not dare to collide with these Zerg head-on. Roar. These Zerg roared continuously, and they all attacked the ship one by one. Su Yan saw the protective cover of the ship, and under the attack of these Zerg, he also began to tremble. This ship is also about to be broken by the Zerg. Seeing this, Su Yan had to cast a super energy cannon and fired energy cannons at these Zerg, but these Zerg came prepared, and they had long expected Su Yan to do this. Therefore, among these Zerg, there is a leader of the Zerg, and at this time, it also launched an attack. A strip of tentacles stretched out from the Zerg's mouth, and then attacked Su Yan's side. Seeing this, Su Yan also quickly controlled the ship, trying to avoid the attacks of these Zerg. The tentacles of these Zerg kept moving through the air, and beams of energy galloped towards Su Yan. These tentacles also kept hitting the obtainable ship, making a rumbling sound. Long bang. However, these Zerg were obviously unable to break the Su Yan ship. Su Yan steered the ship, flying in the air, avoiding the attacks of these Zerg. Su Yan's current speed has also increased a bit compared to just now. After all, he has a super weapon such as a super energy cannon, so his speed has naturally increased a lot. This ship is also very fast, avoiding these Zerg attacks. And there is no problem at all. However, the speed of the ship Su Yan could not be compared with these Zerg. Under the pursuit of these Zerg, the ship was getting slower and slower. Su Yan was also helpless, and could only continue to control the ship to prevent his ship from being overrun by these Zerg. However, under Su Yan's control, the speed of the ship was still weakened. Although it didn't fly as fast as before, it wasn't slow either. A large number of Zerg ships surrounded Su Yan's ships, which caused Su Yan's ships to slow down. Su Yan is also thinking about solutions and wants to solve this problem. He knew that in every Zerg fleet, there must be a Zerg leader who was in charge of commanding the entire fleet. As long as the Zerg leader was killed, the entire fleet would be nothing to worry about. However, the leader of the Zerg is definitely not easy to deal with. The intelligence of these Zerg is very high, and they are gregarious creatures. If Su Yan can't kill the leader of these Zerg as soon as possible, waiting for his ending, he can only be swallowed by these Zerg. And Su Yan is also vulnerable in front of these Zerg, so he can only come up with a solution to this problem as soon as possible. These Zerg, no matter what, cannot let go. Su Yan's eyes rolled, and he had an idea. Then, Su Yan was also manipulating the ship and quickly rushed towards the group of Zerg. When these Zerg saw Su Yan's ships rushing towards them, they also attacked Su Yan's ships one after another. Their attacks were also very ferocious. Moreover, they attacked like this, and Su Yan's ships were constantly attacked by 110. But this ship did not give in the slightest, but confronted them again and fought against the Zerg. Su Yan also used a tactic of pulling money from the bottom of the pot. I saw that Su Yan's ship suddenly burst into a violent energy fluctuation. Su Yan took advantage of this short opportunity to search for the leader of the Zerg and wanted to kill him. After killing the leader of the Zerg, these Zerg will be headless, and the rest of the Zerg are naturally scattered sand, which is not enough. But in such a short time, facing the dense Zerg, Su Yan couldn't find any Zerg leader at all. At this moment, the Zerg ship launched an attack again, and countless Zerg also kept attacking Su Yan's ship. Su Yan was also helpless, and had to launch a super energy cannon attack again, trying to destroy these Zerg. Su Yan's ships continued to send out bursts of attacks, and then attacked the Zerg. Under the attack of the super energy cannon, the Zerg was also beaten down. However, Su Yan also knew that these Zerg would not back down so easily. Around this ship, there are countless Zerg. Su Yan also had to kill all these Zerg before he could concentrate on finding the leader of the Zerg. Su Yan's super energy cannons also bombarded the surroundings continuously, and then the rays of energy from the energy cannons continued to spread out towards the surroundings, destroying all the nearby Zerg. Under the attack of this ship, the number of these Zerg is getting smaller and smaller. However, these Zerg were not afraid of death to launch an attack on Su Yan, wanting to kill Su Yan. And Su Yan is also very speechless. The power of his super energy cannon is also very huge, but this consumption is also very large. Now, he has consumed 1/3 of the energy. Su Yan also can't sit back and ignore it. He must find the leader of the Zerg as soon as possible. Otherwise, after his energy is exhausted, I am afraid that he will be really dangerous. After all, he is already at a disadvantage now. The power of the energy cannon, under the crazy charge of these Zerg, is also constantly weakening. While Su Yan was manipulating the ship, he did not forget to observe the surroundings. Su Yan can only hope now that he is lucky enough to be able to see the Zerg leader, so that he can kill the Zerg leader. However, it is obvious that this possibility is almost zero, and there is no way for Su Yan. The speed of this ship also became slower under the attack of these Zerg. Su Yan knew that he couldn't continue to delay like this, and it would definitely not benefit him any longer. Thinking about it, Su Yan also directly controlled the ship and started to counterattack. One after another, beams of light were released from Su Yan's ship, and then fell on the Zerg. The bodies of those Zerg also kept collapsing. Su Yan's ship also began to rush forward continuously. In the rear of the ship, there are countless Zerg chasing. Su Yan controls the ship and shuttles among the Zerg swarms. The speed of those Zerg is extremely fast. Under their crazy attack, the speed of the ship is also very slow. Many Zerg have already caught up with the ship and opened their bloody mouths, wanting to destroy Su Yan's. The ship was torn apart. Su Yan controls the ship, constantly dodging the attacks of these Zerg. Su Yan's ship was constantly attacked by the Zerg, and the speed of the ship was also very slow, but the ship's defense capability was very strong, and the Zerg attack could not destroy the ship at all. Moreover, the shell of the ship is very strong. Even if the Zerg bites the ship, it is very difficult to bite the ship. Su Yan is manipulating the ship, constantly fleeing, but constantly being attacked by the Zerg, and these Zerg are very crazy. It seems that they will not give up without sinking Su Yan's ship. This made Su Yan feel very irritable, but helpless. The speed of this ship is really too slow. Su Yan controls the ship and can't run very far. At this moment, Su Yan suddenly heard a loud noise in the distance. Su Yan heard the sound and saw that a warship had rammed into his ship. Afterwards, Su Yan discovered that on the ship of this battleship, there was actually a Zerg manipulating the ship. Su Yan did not hesitate, and immediately fired an energy cannon towards the Zerg. Under the attack of the energy cannon, the Zerg instantly turned into a cloud of blood. Seeing this scene, Su Yan was also relieved, Fortunately he found out early, otherwise, I am afraid that he would have been killed by this ship. However, the number of these Zerg was too large, and Su Yan did not dare to be careless. By this time, the Zerg had already run out of patience and launched a general attack on all of Su Yan's ships, and they also launched a fierce attack on Su Yan desperately. Moreover, they are also very smart. Su Yan controlled the ship to keep dodging the attacks of these Zerg, and then they launched another round of attacks, trying to damage the ship and slow down the speed of the ship. Su Yan also did not hesitate, and immediately launched an attack on these Zerg. The energy cannon was very powerful, and it also directly hit the Zerg ship. Su Yan fought decisively with the Zerg ships, and at this moment, the Zerg fleets also chose to besiege the Spear of Aden. Around the Spear of Aden, there are countless Zerg constantly attacking. Su Yan manipulated the ship to keep dodging the attacks of these Zerg, and at the same time he was also constantly releasing energy cannons, constantly hitting the Zerg. However, the number of these Zerg is too many, and they are all very cunning. They are not stupidly charging forward like ordinary Zerg, but are constantly shifting. In this way, Su Yan's energy cannon kept bombarding the Zerg's body. In this chaotic situation, Su Yan had no choice but to focus on the Zerg. Only by killing these Zerg can the immediate problem be solved. Su Yan was manipulating the ship, constantly launching attacks, and then, one after another, the shells flew out of Su Yan's ship. Many Zerg are constantly attacking the Spear of Aden. Aden's spear was under siege. Seeing this, Su Yan also resolutely controlled Aden's spear from a distance and started the overload mode. I saw that more than 1,000 ships in the Spear of Aden were activated. The speed of these ships also soared instantly. In this case, Su Yan steered the ship and began to sweep the surrounding Zerg. Although those Zerg were numerous, in front of Su Yan, their strengths were far from each other. Su Yan manipulated the Spear of Aden and started to slaughter continuously. However, Aden's spear needs to consume a sun shard for each overload mode, and Aden's spear also turns on the super overload mode in order to exert the power of overload. If it is other people, it is difficult to resist the attack of so many Zerg. But Su Yan, the overloaded power of Aden's spear, can easily kill these Zerg. Su Yan controlled the Spear of Aden, running back and forth in the Zerg group, and wherever he passed, countless Zerg were killed by the Spear of Aden one after another. However, these Zerg are not so easy to deal with. At this time, they began to counterattack frantically, and they also attacked the Spear of Aden frantically. The strength of these Zerg is very strong. Su Yan is constantly manipulating the Spear of Aden, but it is very difficult. However, under the crazy attack of these Zerg, the energy of Aden's spear gradually became insufficient. Su Yan also knew that if it went on like this, it would definitely not work. He also quickly replenished the Spear of Aden, and then launched another attack. In this attack, he directly blew up all these Zerg. However, in this way, it also brought huge losses to Aden's spear, so that the energy of Aden's spear was not much left. Seeing this, Su Yan immediately turned on the second set of energy cannons, ready to launch the second attack. The result of this is that the energy of Aden's spear is almost consumed by about half. At this time, Su Yan also had a bad feeling. Because those Zerg turned out to be rushing towards the Spear of Aden again. These Zerg, I don't know what's going on, their numbers are increasing, and these Zerg seem to have infinite energy, and they are coming here in an endless stream, as if they want to destroy the entire ship. To be devoured. These Zerg seem to be planning to eat the ship. Su Yan was also very worried. If he really let these Zerg devour his ships, he would have nothing to do. At this time, Su Yan also felt that a strong energy appeared on his Spear of Aden, and this energy was constantly condensing. This is the energy generated by the more than 1,000 ships in the Spear of Aden when they fired their energy cannons. Under the influence of this energy, the energy of the ship in Aden's spear also became very stable, and the appearance of the ship actually appeared a layer of light green light, which looked like a piece of armor is average. This armor looks thin, but it is very hard. The ships in Aden's spear are all condensed by Su Yan with the solar crystal nucleus, and they are all refined with the solar crystal nucleus, which is naturally very strong. In this case, Su Yan also immediately controlled the Spear of Adin and launched attacks continuously. Under the control of Su Yan, the Spear of Adin launched one after another attack continuously, attacking the surrounding Zerg constantly. Su Yan found out that the power of Adin's spear was much higher than before. The previous attacks of Adin's spear were basically a single attack, but this time, the attack of Adin's spear turned into two lines. One is the energy flow of Adin's spear itself, and the other is the energy flow contained in the solar crystal core. In this way, the energy contained in Adin's spear itself has reached an astonishing 10,000 points, and it continues to grow. Under such circumstances, Su Yan manipulated the spear of Adin, and he continued to launch attacks again and again. These Zerg do not know how many died. Su Yan manipulated the spear of Adin, killing these Zerg constantly. 0. Under the overload mode of Adin's spear can also exert the power of a super cannon. Under such terrifying power, these Zerg corpses also became pulpy. In this way, Su Yan manipulated the spear of Adin, and it was a lot easier to kill these Zerg. But that didn't last long. The Zerg began to rush towards this side frantically again. This time, the number of Zerg was more, with hundreds of millions of them, and the number of these Zerg was still increasing rapidly. Under such circumstances, Adin's spear was also a little overwhelmed. The target of these Zerg is the spear of Adin, and the target of the spear of Adin is also the Zerg. However, now, Su Yan has some headaches. Because his energy consumption is also very serious, and the spear of Adin itself has already reached its limit. Su Yan looked at the Zerg and also had a wry smile. Immediately, he began to control the spear of Adin, constantly firing energy cannons towards the front. Although these energy cannons are not very powerful, they cannot hold a large number. Under such an offensive, these Zerg kept falling, and Su Yan's spear of Adin slowly recovered. Su Yan also continued to control the spear of Adin, constantly attacking these Zerg. Under such an attack, these Zerg also died continuously, and only a small number of Zerg escaped. Thank you for watching Mystic Realms Recap. Please like, share and subscribe. Have a great day.